Hello. Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. I'm kind of making these whenever I notice a certain pattern in the content that I've been consuming, and I kind of put it in a folder until I've collected enough little goodies to share in one video. The main thing that I've noticed in making these is that so many of us are on the same wavelength. The fact that I can pick up on these patterns is because these patterns are very noticeable and other people are talking about them. So a lot of this, as usual, might sound a little bit like common sense or just rehashing things that you've hopefully been thinking about.
The other day, my friend asked me to compete at my school's K-pop dance competition in Monster High cosplay. My immediate response to this was, that's a little cringe. I mean, does anyone else feel like it's become embarrassing to do or like things nowadays?
He took a skateboarding class as an adult, and I was like, okay, that should be illegal.
Like, what are your hobbies? I don't know, texting?
Yes, I did the dance, and to understand why, please join me on a journey as we answer the age-old question, fellas, is it cringe to have a personality?
And this is something that has been coming up a lot with my offline friends as well, like my offline conversations and things like that. And before I get started, I'm a part of this. I'm here to commiserate. I'm here to ask, how do we escape from this prison of our own making? I'm in it, I'm not above it. But what my friends and I have noticed, whether it's popping up on our feeds, popping up in our own heads, is just the question of who am I? Am I just what my Discover feed tells me to be?
Do you really want it, or do you just not want to be the only one without it? Do you really want it, or do you just keep seeing it all over your social media feed? Do you really want it, or are you just bored?
This isn't anything new, but I feel like people are becoming much more aware of it and more worried about it, I think.
Is it just me, or is it getting rarer and rarer to come across something or someone that is truly unique? If you've felt this too, you are not imagining it. Research says that uniqueness is on the decline, even in a time where we have more tools to express ourselves than ever before.
Today, I want to talk about how being online affects our likes, our dislikes, and our relationship to ourselves. I also want to talk about ways to lessen your brain rot and expand your world. Also, is it all bad? Is it all bad to be everybody liking the same things? Maybe, maybe not. And how to find what you actually love. Heavily inspired by I don't know if it's maybe just my algorithm because I do stop and watch them all, but the rise in living like the 2000s content, just consistently reminding me of what life was like when I was a teenager. And I felt so much more secure about, ironically, right? Teenagers aren't supposed to be secure. But I felt really like I knew what I liked and I liked it. I was much less swayed by trends, I think, when I was younger. It's because I didn't have a whole lot of access to them. So let's talk about why on earth we all have the same personality lately. So the first video that I saw that really got me thinking about this was actually more about influencing advertising and marketing. And while I don't agree with it 100%, it did really get me thinking. It's basically talking about, as we know, a very effective form of advertising is to take an insecurity or create an insecurity and show you a way to fix that. But they talk about how your 20s is a time of, quote, symbolic compliance. There are items that you can buy that you can show what kind of person you are, right? So again, not a perfect video, but take a listen.
Oh no! You thought you had a personality.
Congratulations, you just turned 30. You're about to exit the market's most profitable consumer demographic.
Oh, it's been decided for you.
Your 20s are not your youth. They're your decade of maximum symbolic compliance. Your identity's unstable, and there's a group of bald men in a boardroom who understand that better than you. And they build coherent, aspirational identity systems, like your aesthetic trip to Japan. They study unstable human needs, status, desirability, belonging, reinvention. But when you turn 30, the person beneath the propaganda starts to solidify, and you have a moment to choose before the next aspirational model settles in. My advice is to sit in the uncertainty of asking yourself who you are when there's nothing left to buy.
Who are you when there's nothing left to buy or sell? One of the reasons why we question what our personality is because it's so easy to directly copy someone else's personality. Everything is an affiliate link. You can literally head to toe buy someone's outfit, buy someone's bag, buy someone's favorite coffee. And so going back to, I think it was the first video I ever made of this style. Do I have her around me? Of course I don't. She's hiding, but to quote the great Clarice Lispector, until now, finding myself was already having an idea of a person and fitting myself into it. I'd incarnate myself into this organized person and didn't even feel the great effort of construction that is living. And basically, what is living if it's not figuring out yourself? I feel like I'm noticing that social media is really, when I think it's making it easier for me to discover new things, it's actually taking away that joy of discovering something after a lot of digging, a lot of hard work, a lot of, I was thinking about, I used to go to Blockbuster, rest in peace, and I would just go in and like read the back of the DVDs, decide on the spot what I wanted to watch, versus now I get so much content of people doing that hard work for me, like watching dozens of documentaries to tell me which is the best one so I don't waste my time. And I think that when we're wasting our time, that's when we really understand what our taste is, our personal taste. So you kind of have to have a bad time. You need to make mistakes and not like something in order to find out what you actually do like. I think we're going to talk about that later, but that idea of like constructing yourself brick by brick instead of just copying the architectural plans of the person next to you, And I came across this quote that I really liked. The self is not optional. It's yours to inhabit, not theirs to consume. And I feel like a lot of us, especially those of us who work in social media, there's a certain pressure to be a certain way because it's easy to consume. It's easy to understand. Editing Carrie here, we talk about it at the very end, but also not only is it easy to consume, easy to understand, but oftentimes people want a personality that's easy to monetize, especially with the rise in affiliate links. Wouldn't it be handy if everything that you use in your daily life, whether it's your skincare, whether it's the clothes that you're wearing, wouldn't that be handy if you could link them all and make money from it? And again, we'll touch on this in the very last part, but there's also a fear of like saying something wrong, having the incorrect opinion, being cringe. And when I say incorrect opinion, I usually mean unpopular opinion, but like misspeaking, saying something dumb. We're so scared of it now that a lot of people will choose to adopt a personality or adopt likes or dislikes or adopt certain opinions because they know that it's safe, because they know that it's accepted, and then we all end up the same. The self is not optional. It's yours to inhabit. I just found myself reading that over and over in the past couple of weeks, especially because I felt myself falling into this bubble where all of the content I was watching, which we'll talk about in a second, all the content I was watching looked the same and sounded the same, and everyone was wearing the same things, and I felt like I couldn't escape it. And this is something that a lot of my friends noticed really recently as well, and we had long, angry conversations about it over coffee. So I will lead you to the next section, which is how do we get out of this little bubble that we've created? How do we expand our world? And how do we discover new versions of ourselves? And maybe we like those a hell of a lot more than what we're working with right now. So on to part 2.
I was scared of pretty girls and starting conversations.
Okay, now I get to get on my soapbox and nerd out about something a little bit. So just please stay with me for it. So I'll try to find the original video, but I remember it comes up every once in a while for me, this reel that basically says like, you don't need to buy new clothes. You're just scrolling too much online. You don't need XYZ. You're just scrolling too much online. And so many things that we feel like we lack comes from just truly how much time we're spending online. And I've talked about that before as well with like my self-image and things like that, thinking that I need some kind of procedure on my face. And then I'm like, oh, wait, when I'm offline, I don't actually give a shit. So what I'm going to talk about in this section not only helps you get offline, but also reminds you how big the world is and will open up so many new opportunities for you to know yourself, know others, and just feel more at home in the world, which is kind of like what the end goal of all of these videos, right? And it might not be what you think. It is studying a new language. And so let me make my case. Studying a new language genuinely changes how you think. But with the online classes I've been taking with Lingoda, it has the added bonus of helping me stop brain rotting, stop scrolling on my phone, and replacing it with growing my brain. Lingoda is an online language learning platform where you will have a native speaker as your certified teacher. They have classes 24/7. So whether you're in the US, whether you're in Korea, etc., there will be a class open for you. And here's my hack, okay? I'm going to talk about why you need to study a language, but my hack for stopping brain rot, I know when I scroll, especially like after dinner in that like weird between time, like I'm not ready for bed. That is when I do the majority of my scrolling. but what if I just scheduled a language class? What if I just studied Spanish for an hour with 3 to 5 strangers from all around the world, and we talk about our apartments and where we want to travel, our likes and dislikes, and our favorite foods from our countries and things like that. The enrichment I get from 1 hour of Lingota versus my 1 hour of scrolling on the couch, irreplaceable. And they're actually having a May sale right now from the 6th to the 26th of May, and you can use my code CARRY40 to get up to 40% off. There's also a 7-day free trial for new students. It's so fun because you do get a curriculum, you get like tested, put into a level, but you can also kind of choose what you want to learn within that. So if one day you want to learn about a new grammar form, if one day you want to learn vocabulary about cooking, you can find what you want to do for that day. And the teachers are always great. The students are always really fun too. It's like all ages, which is really cool. It honestly just reminds you of how big and wonderful the world is. So once again, CARRY40, up to 40% off. Check out their May sale. All that information will be in the description box for why language is so important and why I think it is like a really great jumping off place to find your personality, get offline, and remember that the world is really big. So many languages have different grammatical structures or different words that don't exist in your native language that genuinely change how you think or how you approach something. So one of my favorite examples is with Korean, how in English, if I'm looking in my wallet and I'm like, oh, I've only got $10. In Korean, you would say, other than $10, I don't have anything. 만 원밖에 없어. You're literally thinking in the opposite. And it's something that I still to this day struggle with, but having to like look in your wallet, and if you want to speak that language correctly, literally have to change how you think of something. It's a crazy exercise in changing how you see the world. And I have found that it actually kind of helps you discover different parts of your personality. Like I think that you can be funnier in a language. I feel like with Korean, there's so many like connecting words or sounds that aren't technically even words, like famously the sound hol. Like if you hear something ridiculous and you just go hol, like that kind of thing. Korean is like a perfect language for active listeners, and I'm a very active listener. I'm always like, who? Huh? What? So Korean is perfect for me. And I feel like with Spanish, I become really dramatic. I'm always exaggerating things because I love so many words that are like beautiful, marvelous, like all of the words I wouldn't necessarily use in English, I tend to use in Spanish. But like I would never know that side of me if I hadn't studied Spanish. It also opens you up to other media, like understanding new jokes, new movies, new music.
Deja los twins en paz.
Like, yes, you can engage with that content without knowing the language. If you ever have learned a second language, you know how much fun it is to be able to understand jokes in another language. It's the best feeling in the world. If the world around you is feeling stale, it's because you are stuck in a bubble. There is so much more to learn. And when you're traveling, it helps you connect more deeply with the places that you are, especially when, and I will link some stuff down below, but there's been a lot of discussion about how everything is starting to look the same. It's sort of like anywhere you go on earth, you can get a cardamom bun and a matcha. And like, as someone who loves cardamom buns, a part of me is like, that's not a problem. But also, why are we going to different places just to eat the same things that we eat at home, you know?
Have you noticed that everywhere in the world is starting to look the same? There's actually a name for this phenomenon. It is called cultural homogenization. And it's essentially the process where local distinct cultures gradually become more and more similar. Underlying it all is westernization, because everything looks the same in a very specific way. Now, social media, of course, is a huge part of this phenomenon, and Western countries dominated social platforms first. Capitalism loves these repeatable, proven formats, and here we are today.
But truly, like being able to speak at least a little bit of a language before you go somewhere, you end up meeting new people, or just being able to read the signs and learning new things. So my next goal, I'm not going to be studying the language. I'm hoping to just, if I pick it up naturally, that would be great. I have heard that Turkish dramas are really good. I have one friend that is really into them, and I want to give it a go. And who knows, like maybe that's my thing. I watched a Korean drama when I was like 13 and it's changed my life. So yeah, just the next time that you are sitting down to do a brain rot scroll, think about how you could be spending that hour studying another language, getting jokes, understanding puns. I watched so much stuff about like the Puerto Rican accent, like after Bad Bunny's Super Bowl performance, a lot of people were making content about like Puerto Rican slang and stuff like that. Fascinating. I love languages. I love languages so much. Study a language. It's the best way to escape the bubble you're in. Okay, it's a little bit later, and something to connect us into part 3 is a piece from a Substack talking about how there are different parts of you that emerge for other people. And so I discovered a lot of my personality through, yes, getting into things that I like, but then also meeting people who drew even more weird parts of myself out of me. So for example, I still am deep in the My Chemical Romance fandom, as you all know. My specifically MCR friends, they know a side of me that a lot of people don't know. I still see it with a lot of my friends who are K-pop fans. They can be like totally normal people, and then you bring up their bias group and it's like they light up and they're talking faster. They've got a little crazy look in their eyes. It's a blessing to be able to discover yourself over and over and over again and finding people and things that bring it out. So, that brings me to asking, is this all bad? That we all like the same things? So I think there's a really big difference between a lot of people mindlessly buying, drinking, watching, listening to, reading the same things just kind of because the internet told them to. That is totally different from if you like a popular thing. I don't mind if a hell of a lot of people, like I got great joy out of watching stuff about the Eras Tour, even though I'm like a casual listener of Taylor Swift. Large events, camaraderie, fandom is essential to life, truly. Like even just last month, when it felt like almost the whole world was watching Artemis go around the world, or go around the moon, Carrie? They also did go around the world, to be fair to myself. It was just so wonderful to be a part of that, like to watch things live and know that like millions of other people were doing the same, and those kind of things, these like giant shared events or shared loves, that is essential to being human. I think that's wonderful. Like I said, I love seeing my friends get a little crazy spark in their eye. They're talking about certain members of certain bands, you know who you are. I'm not going to name names, but one of my friends is having the spring of her life because 5 Seconds of Summer is touring. And as someone who lived that life last year, watching My Chemical Romance on tour a few times, it's just like the most wonderful thing to see a fangirl in her natural habitat and like surrounded by other fangirls. Love what you love, because if you truly love something and you find your people, there is no high that could ever compare. Oh my God. I'm going to see MCR in a few months. So I'm really excited. So it's not all bad that we like popular things. What is bad is that we are so very careful about trying to find those things that we like. This ties directly into our last part, which is how to live a life full of things that you actually love. I'm going to be quoting heavily from one video. It's 8 minutes long. It's really great. You should just watch it yourself because I was laughing out loud, talking about how no one has any personality anymore. And I'll be pulling mainly from 2 videos, so they'll be linked down below. But let's dive into it. How do we get there? How do we get a personality of our own? I gotta put my hair up. It's toasty. Hold on. Okay, hair's up, candles on. How to find your personality again. I loved how it was explained in this video. So I'm going to say it exactly how she said it, okay? Just minus the Australian accent. As Clarice Lispector said, right? We have to construct ourselves. And the very first step for finding your personality again, you've heard it so many times, I'm going to say it again. You need to be cringe. You need to be okay with being cringy. And the way that it is described in this video, she is explaining a theory by Erik Erikson, basically talking about how a personality is formed.
In today's terms, Erikson's process of identity formation is pretty much 1, fuck around, and 2, find out. The fuck around bit is what Erikson called identity moratorium.
You're trying new things. Maybe you get involved in clubs, maybe you listen to different music, maybe you try on a few different aesthetics, fake it till you make it.
Because then and only then can you enter the next phase, finding out, or according to Erikson, identity achievement.
Part 2, figuring out what you liked out of all of that. You threw a lot of things at the wall, what stuck? And that would be the find out phase. And the issue with, especially with a lot of us putting our lives out on social media, is that fuck around phase is really scary. It's really cringe. It's why I'm so happy that I grew up without any social media so that you didn't get to see me go through quite a few of those really, well, cringy phases. I was a dumb teenager. Maybe I liked things that now would be considered problematic. And I was lucky enough to learn from those mistakes, not online. But nowadays we have so many teenagers, even 20-year-olds, we're never done experimenting, I don't think, that aren't willing to try things because they're scared that it would be cringe or there's something not perfect about it. So they never find what they actually enjoy. Instead, they just copy the things that other people are doing because those have been considered safe for now, until we find something wrong with it, and then nobody can do it anymore.
It isn't just me theorizing either. A recent study of over 1 million people found a striking decline in people's desire to stand out and be unique. So in this study, researchers defined you as unique if you had 3 things. Number 1, a lack of concern about other people's opinions. Number 2, a willingness to break rules. And number 3, a tendency to defend personal beliefs publicly. And across all these things, they found a decline. In fact, people's need for uniqueness is at a 20-year low, with the general sentiment being that you need to be incredibly careful about what you're posting. It might be best to keep quiet and not stick out too much.
For example, I see a lot of content about like, can we bring back blank or normalize blank? And it's like, or you could just do it. Like, you could just wear it. You could just watch it. You don't need the collective culture to normalize it or bring it back. Like, excuse me, but I have been listening to My Chemical Romance since 2004, and I will continue to do so until the day that I die. I was known in high school as the girl who liked K-pop because I was the girl who liked K-pop. It's okay to stand alone. It's okay to be known as the girl who likes the weird thing. Now I still have people from high school who like DM me things about K-pop being huge now in the 2020s. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Thanks. Just try new things. Like I said, throw things at the wall. See when they stick, and allow yourself to grow. Something that social media doesn't typically allow for is allow yourself growth. You can like something for a little bit and then decide, actually, I don't like this. I think in my generation, I feel like a lot of us went through that with 500 Days of Summer. A lot of us watched that movie and came away with certain opinions about it that now we realize, oh, looking back, looking at it through not the eyes of a teenager, we had it backwards. We had it wrong.
And so began the endless debate over who was right all along, Summer or Tom.
And that's okay. It's okay to like read a book and like it and then read a book later and be like, goo, what? Or vice versa. You can hate something and then you can learn to love it. Be cringe, let yourself experiment, and enjoy the journey, honestly. And this is something that I actually practice a lot on BookTube, which is getting over the fear of disagreeing. I think that that's a huge thing that keeps people from trying something new, is the fear of like having the unpopular opinion on something or having an incorrect opinion, being told that you are wrong and learning from it. I saw this one skit that I thought was so funny and so true. I'll play it right here.
You are the least interesting gays I have ever met.
Hey, he is fluid!
You know what is wrong with you guys? You think nice is a personality when really it's the absence of one. And you keep saying your sweater is vintage, but I saw it at Target.
Everest, Anton, Everest.
If I can find it, I'll insert it. But I also just saw a video about celebrity interviews in the 90s and how people threw a lot more shade and were kind of meaner. And right after that, I saw a lot of discussion about like how people are begging for celebrities to be less media trained, like the chaotic good of Hudson Williams, for example. People are craving a return to authenticity instead of feeling like everything is scripted and people are tiptoeing around saying anything that could be taken the wrong way, or maybe that like is a solid opinion that people could disagree with, you know? I think the fear that a lot of us have of being disliked leaves us having a personality that makes it difficult for people to love us, if that makes sense. The idea of like, you think that being nice is a personality, I feel like that's a lot of us, myself included. I really notice it when I am on my book channel and I'm trying my best to state my opinion in like the least impactful way ever. Like I try to speak around my opinion. It's gotten so much better. I'm really, really grateful to my book channel for that. Like helping me express an opinion, especially if it's an unpopular one. But that's just something that I think you need to learn how to do. And like, you also don't need to share everything. I feel like there's sometimes a pressure to like post and talk about the things that you're learning or you're reading or you're listening to or whatever, you can explore and experiment privately. And that's totally okay. The second step, really quickly, exploring things you've never heard of. I already talked about that with learning new languages, trying to look up new music, new movies, things like that. Try to discover things as naturally as possible. Go to a library, pick a section in the fiction section and grab something that seems interesting. Also, like with books, something that I think is important is knowing that you don't actually need to finish a book. You can totally open a book to a random page, read something, have it impact you, and put that book down. I think that there's also, like, especially in the book community, a kind of obsession with completing things and like adding it to a list and being able to count things towards your reading goal and things like that. You can just read a random section and go on your merry way. And then finally, number 3, similar to being cringe, you can be mediocre. I will link it down below because I can't summarize her podcast because she's so wonderful. As usual, the Wild Geese podcast talks about having unoriginal ideas, the value of mulling over the same thought over and over again, taking the pressure off of you to be completely unique, but somehow still putting your own spin on something, doing something for yourself that could be unoriginal and lead you towards a new idea. Again, with being mediocre, you don't have to share things. I suck at guitar, but I still try to learn it. And I know I'm never going to be good, but it's still fun to just sometimes pick up my guitar and try to learn something new. We don't need to be perfect to love things perfectly. So I will link everything down below, especially the videos about cringe. I find that those are really important. But I'm going to actually leave you here because Kurt just got home and I'm going to eat ice cream and it's going to be great. And then I'm going to find something new to watch on TV, and I don't know what that's going to be, and that's exciting. So once again, thank you so much to Lingoda for sponsoring this. You could use my code CARRY40 during their May sale going on May 6th to the 26th to get up to 40% off of your Lingoda experience. And really, whether you are learning German, Spanish, French, even English on Lingoda, see how it expands your mind. Just take one class, like see who could be possibly in your class. I remember my first French class, we had like a woman in her 60s. She was British, she retired and she was living in Spain. And then there was like one student from the Philippines who was also living in Spain. Just always like people from all different walks of life. And that in and of itself kind of expands your worldview. And who knows where that could lead you. So once again, I am a work in progress. We are all a work in progress. So I don't act like I'm a completely original, unique human being, but I'm lucky enough to know certain things that I absolutely love, and no social media trend will ever touch that. And I think that's very important. So I will catch you guys next time. Thank you as always. Links in the description box as usual. And hope you're having a good one. So see you then. Okay.